Hello and welcome back. David Pickron here from Rent Perfect. We're continuing our Successful Lazy Landlord Series, and today we're going to talk about renter's insurance. I mean, we all know insurance is important because things happen, but why should you require renter's insurance? I mean, the fact most of us think if the renters don't want to cover their own goods, that why should we make them do that? But the reality is if we have a fire, a flood, or something in our home and we ruin their belongings, we're not gonna pay for them. If they don't have their belongings insured, then that's too bad on them. But they're gonna be looking to us to replace all of their furniture, and it's not gonna happen. So if we can make sure they have renter's insurance to cover their contents, that's important. But more important than that, we wanna make sure that they have a liability policy. So here's where that comes into effect. Think of someone getting hurt if you have a pool. Think of someone getting hurt if they have a trampoline. We had a client years ago who had a tenant in there who had 2 dogs. One of the dogs got out in the neighborhood, and a sweet lady rounded up the dog, took him back to the home, stepped up 2 steps, knocked on the door to return the dog as a good neighbor. When the tenant opened the door, the other dog came out, jumped on her, pushed her down the stairs, banged her head, and they had a severe liability situation. Luckily, our clients made their tenants get renter's insurance, and the claim was filed on the renter's policy, not on the owner's policy. If you don't require them to have a liability policy, every claim is coming onto your policy, which is gonna raise your rates. So it's very important to make sure your tenants have renter's insurance, and Rent Perfect makes it easy and seamless to require renter's insurance. If you don't use Rent Perfect, just make sure you get that policy prior to handing them the keys, because if you hand them the keys and they move in and they don't wanna get renter's insurance, there's a good chance that you're gonna have a hard time making them, unless it's in your lease, and it should be in your lease, and then you could make it a lease violation. So require renter's insurance. It's so important. We never think anything's gonna happen to us, but for $4.51, Rent Perfect sells a liability policy to your tenants. It's completely and totally worth that coverage. And until next time, continue to Rent Perfect.